Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by my lovely, lovable co-host with the co-most, Sarah Levine. Sarah, how are you today?
Can't complain, I slept for literally 12 hours last night.
Wow.
My Fitbit was like, you went to sleep at 8:12, you woke up at 8:14. I'm like, I love that symmetry. Oh my God, you can't beat it.
I never thought I'd see the day. Congrats.
I know.
You slept, girl.
I didn't sleep very well Sunday night because I got boyfriend and I like a hotel room for his birthday, but he was kind of snoring and I was
What
just
hotel?
like, fuck. I do not recommend it. It was the Freehand, and they have a really cool rooftop bar. And what we like to do for like special occasions is we'll do like a staycation. We'll pick a place with a cool like rooftop. We'll go have a drink up there, and then we usually go to dinner. And that was kind of what I had planned.
The Freehand and Flatiron.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting because like it's decorated like a Miami cruise ship is the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
So it's got interesting decor. But so they do have a cool rooftop bar. I've been there before, and they were running like a Sunday Fun Day promo, which I guess just meant that they knocked down the rates. And I was like, excellent, perfect. Because like his birthday's on Labor Day weekend, so it's always hard to kind of get a hotel room. And so whatever, I pay, we go. And then I realized like the bar is closed on Sundays, and I was like, okay, what the hell? Like if I had known this, I would have booked a different spot. And how can you advertise a Sunday Fun Day promo and not have your bar open this day of the week? And then on top of that, like it just felt like I hate this trend of, New York City boutique hotels that truly give you nothing. Like there was no coffee maker in our room.
No.
Like the lobby didn't have free coffee. They had an attached cafe where, coffee was like $4+ a cup. They didn't even have lotion in the room. I was just like, okay, what the F did I pay for?
I'll tell you, I've considered staying at a Freehand. I don't have like a significant other like you. I'm just a weird guy who gets hotels. And there's a Freehand in downtown LA. And I always looked at it because they got a great pool set up. And I'm like, I'd like to hang out by that pool. But they got rooms with like bunk beds and shit. 4 people to a room in a bunk bed. And I was like, I ain't going to a place with bunk beds.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, they did a survey, and I was honest. I was like, no, I wouldn't recommend anybody to stay here. Like, I wouldn't stay again. I would definitely go to the bar just for drinks, but I just would not stay there.
Hey, you laid down the law. They asked, you told,
Yes, I feel like I was pretty fair. I was just like, you advertise this promo, the bar isn't open, that wasn't made clear. Also, like, not having body lotion at a fucking hotel, I think is very standard.
Of. You could go to, Holiday Inn Express got lotion for you.
Yeah. I'm like, if the Hilton can manage it, great chain, by the way, you guys can do it. Like, I don't understand. And then what I knew was really cheap, too, is they didn't have, like, obviously this is more, like, economical and better for the environment, but was, like, they didn't have the little, like, bottles of stuff. They just had, like, a giant thing of, like, shower gel or whatever just mounted to the wall in the shower.
Okay, yeah, but it looks
Which is fine, but I just think it's funny because it's just, like, okay, the whole vibe of the hotel is, like, nope, you're really getting nothing.
Really, the thing that kills me too, and I know bottled water is evil, there's got to be a solution though, but it's like the sink water is usually kind of bad at hotels. I do think it's a little crazy that I have to buy water.
They did actually give us 1 bottle each upon arrival, so I will say that.
That's reasonable. I'll use a reusable water. I mean, I get it. I'm pro environment, Now we're in the heat wave here in LA. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
I was actually more like, wow, there's not even cups in this room. Like, because New York City has the best tap water. I don't give a fuck. So
it does. Yeah, it really does. That's
I'm like,
true.
I got to go brush my teeth with the bottled water. That feels wasteful. I don't know. It's just, and also there was a stack of like decorative books, but one of the books was some kind of book on Sharon Tate, who was murdered by the Manson family. And I was like, why is this book in your hotel? Like, what?
How was that
so
fitting?
Fucking weird.
the vibe.
Yeah, I was like, this is weird. What's the vibe? They know me very well. I think they put that there for me on purpose. But for anybody else, I think it's a weird vibe.
Very odd. Well, I had quite a weekend saga. I
Ooh.
forgot what I did Friday. Probably wasn't very interesting, but Saturday. Oh wait, no, Friday I had a date. Man, I actually did a lot of shit this weekend. I forgot about that. Friday I had a date. It was pretty fun. Food fucking sucked. If I hear another person go on about how LA food is so good, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my shit. Bombed. Totally expensive. Bullshit. It was Peruvian food. Didn't even taste interesting. I was like, you guys, you're killing me. But
so LA food as a whole is not good?
I'm not ready to go that far, but I see like these tweets are like, the food in LA is so good. And I'm like, no, it's not. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I think it's like a thing. It's like New York. You've got to learn it. But
it's not like exceptionally good.
It's just that there's a lot of gotchas. Like I've been to really expensive places several times and the food sucks. And I'm like, damn, dude, like I just paid $50 to have something shitty. Like this is pretty brutal. You know,
I dislike that very much.
Yes. I'm like, I just, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know what it is, but.
Yeah.
And the service is definitely worse in New York. I'll say that. I'm talking about nice places. Nice places.
Yeah.
At an average place, the service in New York is horrific. Anyway.
Yes. Yes,
so,
I feel you.
Whatever. Go on the date. It's good. It's fun. And wake up Saturday and I got nothing going on. So I went to the Vintage Synth Museum. I don't know if I've publicly stated this before. I like synthesizers. They are very odd 80s sort of things and whatever. I went to this guy's museum, which wasn't a museum. It was just a bunch of synthesizers. And he would like check in on you and he's like, how's it going? And I'm like, good, man. Yeah,
wait, so awesome. It was just like a guitar center, like...
A guitar center with no one in it and all synthesizers. Exactly what it was. It really was a museum in zero ways. There was no exhibits, but you could play.
Could you touch them?
Yeah. You could play them. I was playing synths for 2 hours.
This is way better than a museum.
Yeah, that's what I told him too. I was like, I feel like you got to figure out your strategy here because this is like cheap for a studio, but expensive for a museum, but better than a museum. So anyway.
Right. That's pretty sweet. Hey.
It was awesome. It was really cool. Anyway, big recommend there. I've been kind of texting this listener, and she lives in Vegas, and so she like texted me something, and I was like, "Should I go to Vegas? Haha." And she was like, "Yeah."
Haha, but I'll do it.
Yeah. So I call her, and her friend are like doing British accents, and I was like, "Sure, I'll go to Vegas then." And she's like, yeah. And ends up saying, like, I've got a blow-up mattress that you can sleep on. And I was like, oh, my God, this is so great because, it's Labor Day weekend, so it's really expensive to stay Saturday night. But, like, I've been wanting to do this buffet. And, like, I just didn't want... And, like, I hate when I stay in LA on a 3-day weekend because then I'm like, I didn't even do anything. And, like, I'm in my house and shit. It's, like, sad for me. So, I got to go do something, So I run home, I pack up, I put it all together. And I kind of text her on the way, like a picture of the GPS, like, I'm really doing this.
Like, okay.
I'm really on my way. And then she writes, like, stop. Like, STOP. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's bad. Was this like a bit? Like, she said the mattress thing, like, she brought it up, like the air mattress thing. Like, she kind of made it real by saying that, right? So I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then we're like kind of texting, and then she just kind of goes quiet for a long time. And I'm like, oh boy, I've made a huge mistake.
Pulls over. Skirt. Yeah.
So then I go to Barstow, California, which is the halfway point between Vegas and LA. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I'm kind of like stressed out now. I'm like, I don't even know what's going to happen. Like, I should probably just turn around, or I guess I could sleep here. I like kind of ate all this Mexican food, and then I literally pull in, I do all this research. I'm like so bloated, like I overate like a monster. And then I like Google all the fucking hotels, and I try to find a cheap one that's decent. It's the Roadway Inn.
In Vegas or Barstow?
In Barstow. I'm at the halfway point. It's a little closer to my house than Vegas. Okay. I'm in the parking lot for the Roadway. I'm right about to go in, and I'm like, let me just text her because I feel like I could be making a mountain out of a molehill. Let me just text.
This is so millennial. I feel like at this point, you need to pick up the phone and call. Am I the boomer? Yes.
I guess so. Maybe I should have called. Instead, I just texted her and I said, hey, just checking, no press. Is that air mattress still good? Or like whatever, still on? And she says it is. I'm like, oh my God, what a fool. What a fool I am.
Did you think she was telling you to stop the car?
I didn't know. I felt like there was...
she was like, stop. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I didn't know what kind of stop it was. So I was like, oh my God.
I mean, that's so funny.
So
relieved. I feel like
that's
right there is why you call people. Again, I'm the boomer. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm so relieved. I get in the car, and now it's a whole new vibe, right? All the anxiety's gone. I'm blasting music. I'm like, we're going to Vegas. It's going to be so much fun. I'll sleep there. I'll wake up, and then, like, I got a whole Vegas trip in front of me. I'm going to spend, like, so little money. I got points. Like, it's going to be great. It's going to be so, so great. Yes. 20 minutes later, now I am closer to Vegas than my home. She texts again.
Ew.
I feel unwell. And I'm like, oh, okay. I just threw up.
That's not good.
And then I was like, I know where this is going. Now, whatever this is, it means that I have lost now my air mattress. So back to where I was. And so at this point, I'm getting very tired. And I can't really think straight because I'm like, what am I supposed to do? It's Labor Day weekend in Vegas. It's going to be super expensive to get a hotel. I'm like, I don't want to turn around. I have like this like sunk cost fallacy where I'm like, I don't want to turn around a roadway in, you know? So then I keep going, and I run into Prim, and Prim is like 1 hour away from Vegas. And it's like these two really weird casinos right across from each other. There's a monorail in between the casinos. Truly a tremendous amount of optimism was there for this town. And I pull into the much nicer looking Prim Hotel, whatever it's called, Hotel Casino. And I go in. And I walk around, and it's fine. It's fine. It's nicer than the Roadway Inn. And I go to the back, and there's a whole dead mall. It was crazy. It was like a dead indoor mall, all shuttered and stuff.
Creepy.
It was really creepy. But whatever, you know, it's like a bunch of old people and, you know, weirdos who are at a casino on Labor Day weekend night. And in the middle of nowhere, an hour from Vegas. So I go up to the front desk, and I was like, hi, how much is a room for the night? And she's like, oh, honey, no, we don't have anything here. You're going to have to go over to Whiskey Pete's. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I can only book you for next door. I was like, oh, no, I don't know what that is. So I'm like, okay.
It's a mattress under the bar at the saloon. That's what it sounds like.
Get ready. So then I fill up my car with gas. I'm like not thinking straight because I ate so much Mexican food. I ate the whole bowl of chips and a full entree. And I'm like groggy.
Mistakes.
And then I sit in the car and I'm like, Danny, you fool. You have points. You have credit card points. You can just book something and it won't be that painful because it's Labor Day weekend in Vegas. So the hotels are like $400. So, but guess what? You can't book a hotel at 11 p.m. with points. Didn't know that.
When's the cutoff?
I don't know, but it's 11 p.m. is past it.
Okay, that sucks.
So I drive up to Whiskey Pete's. As I'm approaching Whiskey Pete's, a man looks like a zombie is walking in the parking lot. And I was like, I don't like the look of that. So I go on to TripAdvisor. It populates when I search Whiskey Pete's.
You search Whiskey Pete's.
The top review is...
Uh-oh.
Worst place to stay in Nevada.
Wow.
I keep reading. Somebody actually wrote, I was going to sleep in my car, something I was also considering. Somebody wrote, I was going to sleep in my car, and I wish I had. It would have been better than Whiskey Pete's.
Oh, God.
So at this, they said they were in a room with throw up, and they got moved to a room with roaches.
Wow. That is so much worse.
I also forgot to mention this. I had almost crashed the car due to falling asleep at the wheel. So I'm like, do I sleep in my car here at Whiskey Pete's? Do I stay up all night and try to just go to the hotel? I didn't know what to do. Finally, I find a Holiday Inn Express for $200. I barely make it there. I'm pretty mad at this girl at this point, but also just feeling bad too, because I'm like, maybe I was over eager. Was that creepy, you know, but she was a listener. So I was like, you know, I guess I just kind of felt like, yeah, it's a little crazy, but like, whatever. I'm sleeping on her mattress for one night. It's like not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I felt weird too. I was like, did I go too far with this? I took it literally when it was all a big joke, and the British voices, like, and by the way,
the British voices was definitely a red flag.
It was a huge red flag. And by the way, Sarah, she said we're getting high. So that's what I attributed it to. I was like, oh, they're getting high, so they're being silly.
That's also a sign that like you shouldn't take anything seriously.
Well,
like I just feel like high people are really flaky. Like
well,
you can't make plans.
they were getting high. They had just taken edibles or something like that. Not that they were
that's
high.
Even worse.
I know, but it was
edibles. My God, that kicks in like halfway into your drive, and then they're comatose.
Yes, and I thought of that risk. Okay, but I did it. So there I was. Anyway, I spent the night. She then texts me the next day and says she's sorry.
Okay.
And that she'd buy me dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of worked out. So we got dinner,
good.
and that was it. We got dinner. We had a good time. I kind of felt weird. And it was weird, too, because I was like, I made like a joke about it, but it seemed kind of awkward. And then I was like, this is just like a guilt thing. So it just felt like a guilty dinner, not a fun dinner. And, but, you know, I did something with my weekend. That was the goal.
Yikes. I mean, I'm happy you did something. That's a good story. Yeah, I think lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
You're more adventurous than I am. What can I say?
I actually thought about you. I don't know why. When I was in that phase where I hadn't found the Holiday Inn Express, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like I imagined you with me and how mad you would have been. Because it just seemed like a really chaotic thing to do. And I felt
I would be mad. I wouldn't get myself into that situation. Not to like victim blame, but I would. I mean, the thing is like, I feel like I've been burnt. I don't smoke weed.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to do a guest episode with somebody who's like very passionate about cannabis. Weed just makes me paranoid, so I really don't do it ever.
I just quit for that reason. It's taken me 20 years, but I quit.
Wow. But I will say that I've observed so many high people, and I just feel like they are super flaky and kind of annoying. Not every single person, but like, so for example, one of my friends, this is how I knew that you were in a bad situation. So one of my friends, like we had plans to hang out one Sunday, and, you know, usually we'll go to brunch or whatever. But she was like, oh my God, no, like, come over, you know, I'll cook brunch. This way we'll save money, whatever. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
I go over there at like 2. I haven't really eaten much that day because, I don't know, I just like was running around and I'm like, she's making us food. I get there and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you know, what are we having? Should I bring anything? And she was like, oh, I actually ate already. And I was like, what? And then she told me that she just smoked. And I was like, oh. And I was angry.
Super frustrating.
And then I was like, oh, this friend smokes all the time. I should have perhaps foreseen this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it's a lesson learned, but you know, I feel like overall it was a good trip. I did do the Wynn breakfast buffet, something that was kind of on my list. I also successfully...
Oh, that's why you were eating like fancy ass food at 9:30 in the morning? I was like, what is going on here?
Don't recommend doing the breakfast buffet. I think it's more of a dinner move. You just don't want to top load your day with that much food, people.
Yeah.
That was heavy.
I was like, the time that we got dim sum at like noon.
Yeah.
Right?
And
I
then
was like
we
my
lasted
first
till
meal
like
of
5.
the day.
Yeah, walking around and stuff.
Right, and I was just like, oh, I'm so full. Actually, one time I think my boyfriend and I we went back to the same place, and it was like 11 a.m. or something, and I was like, this is a choice for this time of day.
After I ate 5 plates at the Wynn breakfast buffet, I forced myself to walk back to the hotel in 100-degree Las Vegas heat. I was once again in a state of stupor. I actually paid $40 to do an oxygen bar. Total grift. Do not do this.
Amazing.
Do not do this.
You didn't feel better?
No. It's total.
I feel like you could just go in a casino and breathe the air.
Yeah. There's oxygen in the air. You'd be dead if there wasn't. Don't waste your money in an oxygen bar, people.
But they say that like in casinos, they pump oxygen through the air to like get you to stay longer.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
I don't know.
You know what they pump through the casino is waitresses giving you free drinks. So if you need something,
and no lighting.
No lighting. Actually, speaking of scams and grifts, I listened to a great podcast about the guy who hacked all the slot machines.
Oh, which podcast?
It's called, I think it was Planet Money. It's one of my faves.
Ooh, sweet.
But I'll ruin it for you guys. Spoiler alert. First, he gets... Don't ruin it?
No,
I mean,
I don't
whatever.
know.
Anyways, that was my little weekend hellish drive back. You know, I don't know. I'm back on my Hinge game, Sarah. I got a date. I got a date on Saturday with a girl who's like really smart and really cool. So I'm pretty excited for that. Genuine case of like, I don't know if we're going to hit it off, but like I want her to be my friend. She's like really cool.
I mean, hey, that's what the dates are for.
Well, happy Labor Day to you all. And, I'll go sleep on your mattress, guys. It's just, I guess I'm going to have to do more of a
He'll
screener.
do it.
I mean...
Oh, speaking of that, actually, though, I'm going to be in Colorado, not next week, but the week after. So, like, the week of, like, the 19th. I know we have some listeners there, so hit me up or send me recommendations if you don't want to meet up, which I totally respect. I have a place to stay.
You shot yourself down already.
I don't need to sleep on your couch, pressure. But it would be cool to maybe see some people.
I'm the opposite. Let me sleep on your bed, not with you. You sleep on the air mattress. Let me sleep in the nice bedroom. Great. Love to hear it. I wish I could see you in Colorado, but it's kind of far. Shout out to our new patrons, Madison, Carla, and a very special shout out to Jane. Welcome to the Patreon. We're so happy to have you guys. Thanks for joining us. All right, guys, with that out of the way, I think it's time for a little bit of Guess the Words. AITA.
Wait, I forgot Olivia. Sorry.
Shout out to Olivia. Joined. We almost missed you, but we got you.
And Nikki. I thought I put this in here. What the fuck? I'm sorry, Nikki. You guys. Wow.
Google
and Carla
Docs are against us as usual.
Sorry, my bad.
Carla, we got everyone now?
Yes, we got everyone. Sorry.
Here's a little bit of Guess the Verdict. AITA for not letting my daughter go on a college trip alone.
Seems pretty reasonable. I'm going to go with No Assholes Here.
No Assholes Here is wrong.org. Daughter, singer in her junior year of college. Now, in her freshman year at 18, the voice teacher chose her and a few students to compete in a regional voice competition that was about 3 hours away. Daughter wanted to go. Parents said it seemed dangerous because she'd never been away from home on an overnight trip, let alone one with people who are basically strangers, who if something happens...
So she's not going alone?
Who, if something happens in a city she's unfamiliar with and they're unavailable or unwilling to help, she is put in a very dangerous situation.
But there's a teacher there?
Not to mention the hotel chain is gross. And we wanted to be there to support her, Sarah, and see her sing.
I mean, I understand them not wanting to send her to Whiskey Pete's, but...
It might have been Whiskey Pete's, so,
Yeesh.
So the whole family went. Cut to 2 years later...
The whole family went.
The whole family went. Cut to 2 years later, the exact same thing happens again. Daughter wants to go. Parents want to accompany her and put her up. Again. Now she's a junior in college. Ursula Bott writes, YTA, she will be 21, an indisputable adult. But thanks to your controlling behavior, she will have the sense of a junior high student or a shut-in, and nothing you do will stop her. You have guaranteed more disaster in this controlling behavior than anyone else could have designed.
Wow, this is so bad. I mean, they just blatantly lied in their title, so I do feel like I'm not taking that as a personal loss. I did
yeah, you're right. It's like I didn't even read it that way. You're so right. It's almost like they wrote this for me. She wasn't going alone. What a sick way of looking at it, too. It's like they're not strangers either. That's her choir teacher or whatever. That's the voice teacher. They're a stranger to you, not to her.
Right. Exactly. What the fuck? Okay, I hate these people. Well, let's see how you do, AITA, for not changing my wedding theme.
Interesting. I'm leaning No Assholes Here. In general, people seem to be letting everyone get away with that. I'm going to go YTA, though.
Reddit does hate a wedding theme, but this one I think was actually very tasteful, and for that reason, YTA is wrong.
Damn.
OP's getting married on Halloween. They're getting married at a castle. They're doing like a royal gothic theme. Sounds pretty cool. Like the bride has a black ball gown with like a corset. Cool stuff.
Okay.
OP showed a couple friends. They said it's too much and it's over the top and she should go more traditional since her style freaks people out and she should tone down the look. So, I mean, for that reason, the top verdict was NTA because why the fuck would you say that? The top comment was, NTA, your day isn't about them, it's about the two of you. I'd totally come to this wedding, by the way. Congrats and enjoy your day.
Wow, yeah, that seems like very reasonable compared to all the other crazy wedding shit we've been talking about.
I know, it's not like they're making everybody fly to like England and do it in a fictional language for 6 hours.
Everyone has to dress as a duck and like become a duck. So
that would be your wedding.
I know. AITA
or a horse. You get two options.
Ducks and
the
horses.
two genders.
There we go. AITA for telling my wife that her parents manipulating her worked out for the best.
Ooh, brutal thing to say. Her parents manipulating her worked out for the best. I don't know. I just can't give it anything other than a YTA on that.
YTA is right.
Whew.
Actually, both of these were from r/Am I the Devil.
I love that.
So this is pretty ridiculous. I kind of hope it's fake. It's awful. So a 30-year-old marries a 30-year-old high school sweethearts, 2 kids. Linda, she always wanted to go to college to study abroad in Europe. OP didn't want her to do that, but she still wanted to, and OP was kind of jealous. They ended up actually breaking up over it as high school ended. Friends then also roasted OP and said Linda was just going to sleep around in Europe. Assholes.
I mean, hey, man, that's what you do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, so you can sleep with people anywhere, you know?
That's true.
Who cares? Anyway. Linda, actually, though, she didn't get into any of those European schools. And she didn't get any of her grants or scholarships. So she couldn't actually go. So she then went to state school.
She wasn't trying to do, a semester? She was trying to,
go study there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her, but yikes.
So she ended up at the state school, though. OP and her reconnected, and they ended up getting together, falling in love. For the honeymoon, though, Linda wanted to go to Paris, but her parents and OP convinced her to just use the money on a down payment for a house instead. Then it came out that Linda's mom actually forged fake rejection letters and took all the acceptance letters.
What?
And lied about not having the money to pay for her to go.
What?
And this part felt real. Linda then...
That's psychotic.
Linda exploded and went no contact with both her parents. 3 months later, OP tried to rekindle with them, but Linda was like, what are you doing? They're dead to me.
Yeah.
And said they would not be allowed to see her children. OP said he understood her pain, but that she should see the bright side, and that's all he was trying to do. Else crit, YTA, her parents' manipulation worked out for you, at least until your wife divorces you. Seriously, you couldn't even take a trip to Paris.
I mean, I get where he's coming from on, a boneheaded level.
Yeah.
I understand that, but, you can't. That's the dumb thing to say.
I think it's so sad to me, too, because I'm like, we all have dreams, but, this is actually a very achievable dream, and it really only didn't happen for her because people, actively subverted her repeatedly.
Literally.
And it's, super sad to me. I honestly wish I had a dream like this, where I could just go somewhere and be done with it,
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's so sad.
It sucks.
Yeah. That's horrible. Well, speaking of horrible... Sorry. AITA for naming my son after my late brother when my dad already asked me not to.
I mean, it's your kid, your rules. Is that a thing we've ever said? Dad asked you not to. I mean, I kind of feel like everyone sucks here, but yeah, I'll say everyone sucks here.
Everyone sucks here is wrong. So the deal is that OP's brother died in an accident when he was 17, and OP was very close to the brother. The dad, though, basically their mom got sick and passed away, and then 4 months later their dad started dating somebody else, and then within another 6 months he moved his new girlfriend and the kids into the house. And so basically they got into a huge fight, and then the brother died in the accident. And so, the husband asked, or, when the OP got pregnant, she was like, okay, I'm going to name the kid after the brother. And the dad was like, don't do that. And said, he said my brother hurt a lot of people before he died, and there was going to be a bitter feeling if I named their grandson after someone who treated them badly. which, boo. OP did it anyway. So the top comment was, I was named after my late aunt. Based on some comments on this thread, I lived my whole life in her shadow and am nothing more than a living memorial. Your dad and stepmom feel guilty because they tried to force a new family less than 6 months after the death of your mother. Unsurprisingly, your brother wanted nothing to do with it. NTA.
Crazy.
Yeah, awful.
A lot of drama. But what's not dramatic is that Sarah is the winner, and I do relinquish my crown.
Woo!
There we go, folks. All right, guys. Well, I think we are ready to just get right into this thing. Thanks so much for listening. Actually, we do have a really big update on the Patreon. We did have to, unfortunately, post 200 episodes at once, but you won't have to see that because now they're just all up. You can listen to the whole back catalog ad-free on Patreon.
Woo!
And there's still over 120 bonus episodes. We're also moving the happy hour, so potentially we'll kind of see how this shakes out, but now it's going to be Saturday mornings PST. So we'll kind of see how that pans out, but we're really excited about it. Hopefully you'll get to see some new faces. I know there's always going to be people who can't make the new time, but I'm trying my best, folks. Much love. You also get access to our Discord, $5 a month. It's a great deal. Lots of content there. So we hope to see you on our Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Please rate, review, subscribe. All right, let's do this thing.
Covered it all.
Thank you. Our second story of the day. AITA for making my 7-year-old go to Alcoholics Anonymous. Wow. But first, it's AITA for refusing to change shirts to appease a bar's dress code. Last night, I, 26M, was in line for a bar. The line was pretty long and friends and I were standing out there for 10 minutes. My boyfriend, 27M, was inside the bar already with his coworkers who I was supposed to meet that night. When I was almost to the bouncer checking IDs, another bouncer came to the line and informed me I wouldn't be able to get in because I was wearing a tank top. It's summer and it's very hot here, so it's kind of a typical attire for men. Several dudes behind me in the line were also told the same. I said, "Really, dude? Why?" And was told it was just quote unquote the rule. My female friends in crop tops were apparently no issue. So we went across the street to a different bar, which was less crowded, cheaper, and quieter music, so we could actually have a conversation. I texted my boyfriend and told him we were at said bar because I wasn't let into the original one. He said, quote, "I think I have a shirt in my car." I said, "Sorry, but I don't want to give my money to the first bar if they don't like how I dress." He said his coworkers really want to meet me. I said, "Okay, just come across the street. It's quieter here and we can actually talk." He refused, and instead, he and his coworkers ended up going to a different bar where I also couldn't get in due to dress code.
Come again?
There's at least 10 bars within a 2-minute walk, so there were several other options, including the one our friends were waiting at already. I refused to change shirts and ditch our friends who didn't want to go to the new bar, and they agreed that I wasn't being difficult to not want to change shirts. They are also my boyfriend's friends first and foremost, so they wouldn't have been expected to take my side. Long story short, my boyfriend and I argued and didn't spend the night together and I didn't meet his coworkers. I was told I was being stubborn. I agree, but there are some things I stick to because of principles. AITA for not just changing.
Like my right to expose my shoulders. Yeah, I think this would be maybe more interesting of a situation if, like, they didn't leave the bar and then go to another one.
Yeah, because then they went to yet another bar.
Because it's like, yeah, what the fuck? That was really, like, a perfect opportunity. Like, I understand if, like, maybe this is a really cool bar, your coworkers really wanted to go to this specific one, and they don't want to leave, but he can't get in, and, like, I get it. Also, the boyfriend has one shirt in his car, so that doesn't really solve the problem of all the other people OP's with not being able to get in. But yeah, I mean, you already left, so I feel like at that point it's just you're being spiteful. Or bougie, hard to tell.
I don't know. I feel like group dynamics are a thing, you know? It's like you get into a group of people and people have different whims and you want to keep the peace and you're trying to keep the vibes. And, like, I think both of them were in that situation, right? They're separate. And one group is like, we want our shirts to be like this, but you want to keep the good times rolling and you don't want to bring the night to a halt. And then you got the other group. So it's like, yeah, they all left the bar together. And that maybe could have been an opportunity, but it's also like maybe some other guy was like, dude, my best friend works at Beach House, bro. We gotta go. He's like pouring super generous pours, bros. You know, and like, oh, everybody gets all excited and you don't want to be like, hey, actually, no, Beach House, they have that tank top rule. So could we actually go to Moe's? You know, it's like.
I guess to me, I just feel like it was already sort of predetermined that your coworkers wanted to meet your boyfriend. You already know he's at this bar. If you know you're leaving, why wouldn't you just go to that bar?
No, because of the group. You don't really know. It could have been the whole dynamic, you know? If there's like 5 people, it gets crazy.
I guess. I feel like in my experience, like anyone who has a strong opinion towards something will get their way because everybody else was like, oh yeah, I don't know, whatever's good with me. Like, I don't care. I'm cool with whatever. And so if you just say, hey, let's go here, everyone's like, all right, cool. Like,
I guess.
Is my experience in group dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to build a case on it because I'm like, it just, who knows? And it's like you're drinking and nobody wants to be the controlling one. I don't know. I see your way. I think it can kind of go either way.
I guess I also feel like for the boyfriend to be so mad about it doesn't really seem fair.
And why do we think he's mad? They argued. They didn't spend the night together.
Right. Like, OP could have changed into the shirt, but then none of the other friends he was with would have been able to change,
Yeah.
so he would have had to ditch them.
Well,
and, like, at that point, fuck that. I'm not ditching the people that I'm with.
Yeah, it's like no one really yielded. It was like, you didn't come to me, and he didn't come to you.
Right.
You know, to me, this is looking like ESH, NAH paradox, because it's like, you know, I guess the only thing I had an issue with, and somebody called it out as a top comment here, they wrote, there's some things I stick to because of principles. I wasn't really on board. Actually, I might even try to build a case on this. That there is something wrong with having a dress code. Now, there are racist dress codes. I think that's been pretty well documented online. But restricting men from wearing, you know, sleeveless shirts, that is not... There's nothing wrong with that. That's just you want to have a certain vibe, or saying no flip-flops. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a principle that you have. What's the principle?
That seems stupid. I mean, that's just that's why I joked. I was like, your principle to expose your shoulders. I mean,
exactly.
That's really just being stubborn. Like, I get it, but.
And you know what this is too? We always talk about how people leverage like anxiety or mental health and stuff to their advantage. I think people do it with principles too. It's like, is that your principle? In what other ways does that manifest? Can you name a single other way that has ever manifested for you? It's like, no, you just chose right now to act like this is something deeply held and important to you. No, it's fucking not.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not your principle.
I don't really see a lot of things, though, to pin here. It seems like y'all had an unfortunate kind of night out. I mean... Yeah. You know? Who among us hasn't been caught at Whiskey Pete's and just been in the chaos?
Yeah.
AITA,
yeah, I'm with you.
AITA for refusing to change shirts to appease a bar's dress code? I think we're saying no assholes here.
Yeah, because ultimately, like, I don't think anybody was truly harmed by this choice one way or the other. So, to me, it's not an ESH.
I'm with you.
It's just like, you know, no harm, no foul, really, to anybody.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, folks. Please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon. Over 120 bonus episodes. You love to see it, people. Tons of content. Great community. Lots of awesome people. Great discussions. Join us on Discord. Patreon. Discard. What is this? The Narcissist Podcast? There we go, folks. Patreon.com/AITA pod.
AITA for making my 7-year-old go to Alcoholics Anonymous.
What?
I know, that's like a record scratch. Shouts out to the subreddit I found, AITA Filtered. That's honestly great. I31F have an amazing son, almost 8, who's incredibly sweet, well-mannered, and inquisitive. Although I guess most parents think of their kids that way. I respect the self-awareness. I quit drinking 2 months ago, and I've been adamant about doing AA program correctly. 90 meetings in 90 days, whatever. We know how it works. I really want to be a good mom and make up for my bad decisions when I was drinking. I never harmed him or put him in danger, but I just wasn't present, and I'm remorseful about my past. The problem is I'm a single mom who works full-time, and I live in a small town. There aren't a lot of options in terms of AA meetings, so the only one I can really attend is the 5:30 one. His father has him part-time, so on those days I can attend meetings by myself, but on my days I have to bring my son. I don't have anyone to leave him with, and babysitting wouldn't work because nobody wants to babysit for just 1 hour. It doesn't make sense for them. So I take my son to meetings. Naturally, he isn't too thrilled when I have to. Before you suggest I do Zoom meetings, I don't get anything out of them. I like the in-person connection. My ex, who's never taken my alcoholism seriously and has never actually attended a meeting, says I'm the asshole for exposing our child to that kind of atmosphere and those kinds of people.
Yikes.
Truth is, those people are what saved my life. They're so sweet and good with my son, and while sometimes the subject matter can be a little adult-ish, we mostly talk about how to be better people and live a spiritually sound existence and help our fellow man. I personally think it's good for my son to be surrounded by people that are trying to better themselves, and also to let him know at an early age the effects of alcoholism as it runs in my family. But maybe I'm the asshole and way off the mark, and I'm doing more damage than good. AITA.
Very
Actually, I don't know why I
interesting.
chose this one, because I'm like, I don't feel qualified to weigh in, really.
I mean, look, if we want to just get away from the kind of judgmental and addicty nature of this, you know, I'm having flashbacks to Fight Club, you know, and there's all these different groups, right, in that movie, and one of them is Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's Narcotics Anonymous, but there's also other things like, you know, ovarian cancer, or what is it, like the breast cancer sufferers.
Yeah,
you know,
he went to all the
Bob
support groups.
Bob with the big male breast. I don't think a child. I don't think a child should be probably exposed to that on a regular basis. I think it's really heavy. I think it's really, really intense. I also think that children are not. They add a layer of, well, why don't I want a kid at a bar, right? It's not like I'm going to talk to the kid, but it's like we're at a bar to be crazy. You know, or at a comedy show. That's an even better example. It's not even that my material is like, it would, you know, traumatize a child, or even that it's not child friendly, but I just don't want a kid there because, like, I just don't want to have the thought like, oh, there's a kid here, I need to watch what I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you have to filter.
Exactly.
I do. Where was I this weekend? Oh, yeah, I was at this, like, brunch place that's sort of like a beach club on Governor's Island, and and first of all, it's a bougie-ass place, and there are people with their kids, and I'm like, first of all, why is your kid here?
Yeah.
And, like, are you really feeding your kid, like, $25 guacamole? Like, what in the fuck? This food is way too bougie for them. But no, I'm with you. Yeah, I can totally, like, sympathize that she doesn't have any option.
But that's the other thing, Sarah. I took kind of issue here. Oh, no babysitter wants to babysit for an hour? Really? Okay, so have them work for 2 hours. This is a non-problem.
Well, she might not have the money to pay them for a few hours.
And that's nowhere here.
What?
That's not what she said.
Okay.
You know?
But, like,
she painted it to be a problem that it's not worth anyone's while. Not that it was a financial issue. She said it doesn't financially make sense for them.
Yeah,
so,
but I don't know. Maybe she can't afford more than 1 hour.
But then she would have said that. I feel like you're not playing it as it lays. She said that I don't have anyone to leave them with, and babysitting wouldn't work.
Thinking of a logical reason where you wouldn't pay someone for more hours.
I mean, I just don't understand. If you say you can't afford a babysitter, you can't afford a babysitter. Instead, she's trying to paint a picture saying, oh, no babysitter wants to do it. And it's like, is that really the problem? It's not.
I guess.
So you cited a non-problem. The other picture painting I see here, oh, it means so much to me. It means so much to me. These people, they mean so much to me. Nobody's disagreeing with that. That is irrelevant. That is not the objection that is being raised, that this is bad for you.
Well, sure, but I think the natural solution would be like, well, don't go. And that's why she's saying, well, this is important.
I don't like what was said. Those kinds of people, I think, is a bad way to look at AA. Those kinds of people, those are the people in the bars. Those are the bad people. But like...
Yeah, I mean, I just think she's preemptively saying that not to picture paint, but to answer the obvious question, which would be skip those weeks. And it's like, yeah, but I think that's kind of why she said that.
Yeah, I just the way she's framing this, I feel like she hasn't really thought of this from the son's perspective or the perspective of the people that are actually in AA. It's very self-centered.
I mean, I can get with you on that for sure. I think it not really necessarily maliciously self-centered, but I mean, yeah, she is just thinking about what's best for her.
Selective naivete, perhaps. Melmoth Milton writes, I'm not comfortable calling you an asshole over this because you're between a rock and a hard place, but yes, it's inappropriate subject matter for a child. It might make other members feel they can't speak their real experiences. Topics often cover abuse, death. It's not appropriate for a kid. I mean, to me, that's like obvious. This is alcoholics.
Yeah.
This is people with addiction. This is not child friendly. This is not appropriate. This is not something. This is like having your child watch Fight Club. A 7-year-old or an 8-year-old? It's too young.
Yeah, it's too young.
Oh, this is a funny comment. Children do not understand the concept of anonymous. That is actually an incredibly concise way of putting it.
That's
it's like,
hilarious.
They don't even get...
That's the main reason.
Yeah, they might get the alcoholic part, but they're definitely not going to get the anonymous part.
That's hilarious. I mean, I guess I'm like, you could slap headphones on him and put him in a corner.
Yeah, that doesn't seem so unreasonable to me, it's kind of figuring out a way to make that work. And I think getting permission there and making sure it's okay with everyone, even if it is headphones in a corner vibes.
Yeah.
Somebody actually asked this. Fuzzy Constant said, are you able to give him a screen and headphones? And let's see if OP replied. I am not seeing it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that, look, obviously, as someone who doesn't drink, I'm all about people doing AA, and I understand time can be strained, and I can give it to you, Sarah, that, maybe it is the case that they simply don't have the money to pay a sitter, don't have the resources otherwise, but I just am a little bit generally alarmed that the welfare of the child and how this is affecting the child does not seem to have truly entered OP's mind in a way I'm comfortable with their parenting style.
Well, I guess to give them some grace, I think if they're focusing on recovery, like you're 2 months in, I think, you are naturally going to be kind of focused on yourself. Not that it's like okay to neglect your kid or anything, but I can kind of understand why they have, blinders on right now.
I think they got a little caught in it, how it was benefiting them, how it was wonderful for them, and they're kind of glowing about it. But the reality is that just this isn't something that I think, a child who is 7 years old, almost 8, that is going to be beneficial for them. And I think OP is a little blind to that because, they seem to be sort of experiencing rapture here. Nonetheless, I might be able to do ESH just because the X saying those kinds of people is kind of ugly and that kind of atmosphere, but ultimately that is kind of what I'm saying too. I feel like his
reasoning is wrong, but like his route is wrong, but his destination doesn't feel wrong.
Exactly.
I don't know. Is she the asshole? Like, okay, yes.
For me, yes. I would, and honestly, I would say the same thing even if it wasn't Alcoholics Anonymous, even if it was like, breast cancer sufferers. All right, and I apologize, I don't really know what that's called, but it's in Fight Club, because I'd be like, that's just very heavy, and I'm sure that's wonderful for you. But like for a child, these are heavy emotions, right? The stuff that comes out in these meetings, it's fucking heavy, dude. That is not for kiddos.
Yeah. I'm kind of torn between like a NAH or like a super soft YTA.
No.
Because like, I just think this person is in a pretty tough situation.
I think
just trying their best.
I think this person is on a great uphill trend, and you love to see it. And I think, as someone who used to drink heavily, and I do feel like alcohol severely limited my ability to empathize and listen and learn from my behavior, in addition to make me a fucking moron when I was doing it, when I was drinking it. And I think this is the kind of wake-up call that you do have when you start drinking. You're like, oh, shit. I'm doing crazy shit. I didn't even think that this was going to be one of the crazy things I did. Because that is the awakening of it, right? Is like you first realize like, oh, alcohol is bad for me. But then you're like, oh, I also do lots of other things that are bad that I was unable to see because I was drinking alcohol, And I think this is a little bit of rose-colored glasses for AA and what AA is. Hey, I'm all for it. Personally, not my cup, but I have no softness here. To me, this was I think you're right that their intentions are in the place and they're between a rock and a hard place. But this is wrong and potentially traumatizing to a child.
Yeah.
Say nothing of how, like I said, Sarah, this affects the other people at AA. You didn't think about how it affected them?
Yeah, like. I feel like they could talk to the, like, I don't know, a sponsor or something and see what the vibe is, Yeah,
they didn't get anyone's permission.
Like, they can't be the only parent in this entire meeting, I assume.
Sure, but they just brought their kid in and said, well, this is what works for me. you know, and people were, you know, letting it happen, but that doesn't mean they're all okay with it. That's not what AA is for.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's a sweetness here. I feel you there. I'm not ready to do a soft YTA, but I feel you. The intent is good. This person is on in a good track.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's definitely not the ideal solution. That's for sure. Don't know that it's the best thing either, but I don't know.
Well, for me, it's cut and dry. AITA for making my 7-year-old go to Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a clear-cut YTA for me. Sarah?
I guess I'll go soft YTA.
Soft YTA from the Sarah Bear. Folks, please rate, review, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod, 120 plus bonus episodes. Plus, you can support us. We love to see it, people. Here we go. We're wrapping up. AITA for kicking my friend out of my wedding for being a conspiracy theorist. My maid of honor has been sending me these nasty conspiracy theory videos.
Yikes.
Implying that I was part of the government using PCR tests for human cloning.
God.
I never heard someone be like, this conspiracy video is nasty. Like, what?
That's funny.
Additionally,
it's just a nice little one.
Yeah, just
no,
a nice
this one's
little
nasty.
conspiracy. Additionally, several claim vaccines cause millions of deaths and medical providers help the government cover it up. I deployed to 3 different states to help with vaccinating. I was angry. I explained to her that I understand that COVID was scary and having your world flip can be jarring, but the people she is turning to are making outlandish claims in order to sell books and feed into everyone's worst fears. She replied, agree to disagree. At this point, I think I'm going to ask her to step down from my wedding. I won't have her potentially ruin my wedding because she sees it as an opportunity to spread this message. It's awful.
And COVID.
Right. It's awful because I consider her a good friend. I just can't deal with the conspiracy messaging she has been buying into the last couple of years. AITA.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. She wasn't a good friend, but like I definitely had a friend post some like QAnon adjacent type stuff. And I was like, what's going on? And she was always kind of woo-woo, so I wasn't totally surprised, but like the sweetest person ever and also like educated. So
yeah.
I don't want to say I don't understand how people have friends like this because I do, but not my close friend and not this like violent almost of a claim, you know? This is not just like a casual, like, oh, I don't think the vaccine is the right thing for me. Like, I want to wait till there's more data or whatever. This is like the government is cloning people, which honestly isn't even a claim that I've heard about the vaccine. I'll be cloned. Sign me up.
Sure. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Is my clone cool? Like, I'm down. Maybe not an evil clone.
Yeah, no, we don't need an evil.
The evil version of me would just do something mean and then only apologize like 3 times instead of like 24 times.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting to meditate on, you know, what is this made of, right? And I love that you described your friend as educated, you know, because it's not stupidity. That I think is actually one of the pitfalls of this thing, is that thinking that people with conspiracy theory beliefs, obviously many of them are stupid, but it's not necessarily made of stupidity. You know, you could be very educated and fall into these holes. And that's very fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually a desire to think of yourself as smart. So smart that you know something that everybody else doesn't. It's almost like its own brand of elitism. And, you know, people call like East Coast elites and whatever. But I definitely think like a form of elitism plays into conspiracy theories because you really think you're smarter than every other fact out there. Like, you really do.
I think that's a component. Ego, it feeds into ego. Yeah, you're right. You got to have like kind of a one-up on everyone because you know the secret.
Exactly. Like, you know the secret that everybody else is too stupid to know.
Yeah, I think there's also, you know, depending on it too, there's an egotism in it, like in the sense of like the government wants my DNA. It's like nobody wants your DNA.
First of all, they already have it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They already have all your other data, and actually Facebook has it, so like it doesn't even fucking matter. What are you protecting?
Yeah, have you used a government website? You really think those motherfuckers got your DNA? Those motherfuckers can't load a web page in 7 seconds. So I don't know. I don't know if it's happening for them.
So true.
But yeah, I mean, I think it is sad. I mean, like, you know, I'm trying to, because here's the thing. There's people who I disagree with, and they think crazy things that I think are factually false and very problematic to believe generally, but they don't bring them up, and that's it. And it doesn't need to be an issue. You know, the lack of boundaries with this, right? Like, and also being unable to recognize, like, yo, what you're saying is you're implicating me, honey. Like, you're saying that I'm doing this and that I'm corrupt, right? Because that's where a lot of these conspiracy theories go. And the answer is they go everywhere. They just can't stop because everybody has to be in on it.
Exactly. For it to be real. And I think that's really disgusting, especially like when this person was a healthcare provider in the pandemic. They probably saw so many horrible things that no person should see. And to basically, it's arrogant and it's truly like so scummy, in my opinion, to take this person's very real trauma that they should have never had to experience and like use it as a dumbass gotcha moment, you know? Like, it's just disgusting to me, honestly. Like, that's really it.
And the sad part is too, and we saw this with Alex Jones, who now got, you know, hit massively. For those of you who don't know, he basically said Sandy Hook was fake, and there was honestly a powerful moment on the stand where this mother just cried and said, "I'm not fake. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm a real mother.
Yeah,
and those are my real children."
Disgusting.
Child. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's the sad thing is too that, you know, the almost funny part is the conspiracy theorists suggest that everybody else is evil and that people are up to no good, and it's like the very person selling you whatever it is the one doing it for profit and attention.
I mean, that's the whole thing. I'm impressed that this person is even still friends with this person. Also because just on a personal level, so many of these conspiracy theories are wrapped up in anti-Semitism, so that would be an immediate no for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly impressed with OP, and even the grace that they showed their friend in being like, look, I understand that COVID was scary. I think that honestly takes a big amount of empathy that a lot of people wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, you got to do what's right for you. They might be spreading nonsense at your wedding. They might be spreading diseases. Like, just forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you can try to have the conversation. You know, I'll say this. I have had some friends get into conspiracy theories, and, you know, I think I have pushed them away from them. I've been able to do some of that. Good. Or just been able to shut it down. And I think it can also be a phase thing too. Like, it can be you know, a sort of temporary craving for this like elitism or whatever their kind of ego might need. They might be down and out, and actually that's why they get into
I can understand because, like, especially in the beginning of COVID, it was like a scary time. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on, and it was scary to know that, like, even the foremost doctors and scientists didn't really have an answer. I mean, they kind of still don't. So I get it to an extent, but
yeah, it was scary.
It's a small extent. It's a small extent, but I feel like OP has honestly kind of already given this friend a lot of grace. Isn't getting any back.
Yeah, I mean, and there is.
What's the benefit here?
Yeah, I think what this comes with, and what I noticed with these people is because, look, in the end, it's possible. I think it's uncommon, but it is possible to be a rational person who has a irrational belief or an uncommon belief, an odd belief, whatever. But what I notice in these arguments, and I think what is more fair to react to, this is maybe a fine point worth making. If I'm a conspiracy theorist and I'm saying false things, right? Like, I say there's definitely aliens at Area 51. I know it for a fact, right? It's obviously not true.
What do you mean, obviously?
In other words, I can't provide any evidence that would justify knowing it, but I'm going around telling people I absolutely know there's aliens at Area 51, and there's nothing wrong with that, though. I happen to think something for whatever. Actually, you know what? For a while, I didn't think a plane hit the Pentagon. I didn't think so. I still kind of am dicey about it. It just doesn't really look like a plane hit it. Whatever. It's a stupid.
I didn't even know that was a conspiracy.
Yeah.
I feel like the Area 51 thing is also not harming anyone.
Well, but either way, like,
unless like my dad works at Area 51.
I know, right? Yeah.
And I'm like offended, but it's just there are some conspiracy theories that like straight up don't harm anyone, and I'm like, sure, if you want to believe that birds aren't real, even though the guy who invented that conspiracy theory has done interviews about like, yeah, I just started this for fun.
It's a bit, yeah. But but I think there's a big gap between, look, people can believe what they want to believe, and they might believe crazy things. They might believe it's worth it to have a Game of Thrones wedding or whatever. Let them have their beliefs. But I think when it gets to a level of, you're personally attacking me as a medical practitioner, you are making the conspiracy theory personal now because you're accusing me of something, right?
Well, yeah, it kind of has to. I don't think there's a way to make it non-personal if you happen to be a healthcare provider who works during the pandemic. Like, I don't think there's a way to like divorce the personal from that.
I mean, I can see it being said in a way where it wouldn't be ugly, but the way that this was described is that implying that I was part of the government using PCR tests for human cloning. It's like,
for sure.
It sounds like that was pretty direct, like, you know, and she's also, she's also not taking the hint. It's like, you're repeatedly sending these videos. I don't want to watch these videos. I'm assuming OP at least said something, you know?
Right.
So, like, if they genuinely could agree to disagree, but it does seem like there's a level of, like, this is going to come out. And that, to me, is really the problem. It's not really about the conspiracy theories, because, like, people are going to believe in dumb shit, and that's not a deal breaker for me for a friend. It's about, can you shut the fuck up and not talk about that at the wrong time to the wrong people? To me, that's what it really comes back to.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't even need to go that granular with it. I'm pretty immediate. Like,
you're out.
Yeah.
No conspiracy theories.
Because there are some things there are some dumb beliefs that like ultimately are stupid and don't harm anyone. Like, I kind of feel like that to an extent about flat Earth, because I'm like, all right, man, if you want to believe that, sure. Like, again, there is a portion of flat Earth that gets like harmful, but if you're just like Kyrie Irving and you don't think that the world is round, like, okay, I guess it's weird, but I don't really know. I mean, because he's a public figure, he's harming more people. But, like, her belief goes beyond, you know, it's just a personal choice for me, and her belief is, like, harming people. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to go with NTA. I mean, we're obviously seeing eye to eye. Just think our reasoning is a little different.
AITA for kicking my friend out of my wedding for being conspiracy theorists. NTA, and they are. Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, yeah. Forget this.
Absolutely. And not deferring to authority either, right? Because it's like they're literally in it, administering the test, and you're going to send a fucking YouTube video. I mean, my brother and I
mean, you really think your dumbass YouTube video is going to change, like, 10 years of fucking medical school? Like...
You know, to my credit,
the hubris in that.
What's fascinating about this, and maybe I don't see it quite the same way, but right, like I make videos all day. I could easily make loose change right now. You know, I could easily go in and make a crazy video. It's not hard to do. Anybody could do it, really.
It's not.
And people think that
you could say something dumb.
Well, it's a testament, I think, to part of it being that like videos are powerful, and people see a video and they see that it's decently produced and they go, yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true and real. And it's like, no, dude, some guy did that at a computer. Some like guy in his mom's basement made that shit, bro.
Yeah. Well, thank you for using your powers for good.
Live from my mother's basement. This has been AITA Pod. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Much love, and we'll see you next Monday morning. Bye.
Bye.